I never imagined a single journal could alter the course of my life, let alone draw the attention of a being so powerful and alien that the entire galaxy would bend in her presence. My diary had always been my secret companion, a place where I could confess fears, ambitions, and desires I dared not speak aloud. I thought it was private, hidden within the walls of my small quarters aboard the cargo vessel Aurora's Reach. But I underestimated the universe and the curiosity of an alien queen. It began on a routine supply run to the outskirts of the Aurelian Belt. I was a low-ranking officer, tasked with delivering scientific equipment to remote colonies and abandoned stations. Boredom was my constant companion. I spent most of my time writing in my diary, detailing thoughts that felt insignificant but strangely comforting. That is, until the day our ship was intercepted by the Zytherian Empress, a vessel unlike anything I had ever seen. It shimmered as though crafted from liquid light, edges curving in impossible geometries, and above all, it exuded a presence that pressed against the mind like an unspoken command. I was dragged to the Queen's chamber aboard her vessel, an enormous room floating in midspace, walls of translucent crystal revealing the cosmos beyond. There, she waited, the alien queen. Her skin glowed faintly with a shifting luminescence, eyes reflecting entire constellations, and her voice, when she spoke, was both everywhere and nowhere, like echoes bouncing through the void. "You have thoughts that are fragile, yet bold," she whispered. Her gaze fell upon me with an intensity that felt like it could unearth every hidden corner of my mind. "I have seen them." I froze. My mind raced. How could she know? I had been careful. My diary had never left my possession. I tried to speak, to deny anything, but no words came. "It is curious, human," she said, tilting her head as though examining a curious artifact. "Your diary, it chose to reveal itself." I realized then that in the brief moments of rest aboard the Aurora's Reach, when the ship's AI lapsed in its routines, I had unconsciously carried my diary into an area of the ship that intersected with her sensors. Or perhaps, with beings like her, it wasn't a question of sensors at all. Perhaps thoughts themselves were visible to her kind. "You write of dreams," she continued, "of fears, of longing, of rebellion against the silence you endure." Her voice softened, almost intimate, as if she were reading my soul. "Your words are delicate and dangerous." I wanted to run, to hide, but my body refused to obey. Instead, I watched as she moved closer, each step a slow ripple across the floor, bending light and space. The diary was in my hands, though now it felt heavier, a talisman that had betrayed me. "Why are you here?" I whispered, finally finding my voice. She paused, the air vibrating with unspoken power. "Because," she said, her voice dropping to a near inaudible hum, "you have written what none dare think. And the universe is listening." I didn't understand. Listening? Why, what? My words faltered, my mind clouded with confusion. "The galaxy is not merely stars and void," she said, circling me. "It is memory. Memory manifests, memory remembers, memory acts. You are part of it, and your thoughts are a spark. Sparks can ignite storms." The weight of her words hit me. My diary, these pages, had never been ordinary. They had been my solace, yes, but somehow they were also a signal, a message, a declaration in a universe that expected conformity. "I don't understand," I stammered. "I'm just a human. I'm small. My thoughts, they don't matter." "They do," she said, eyes narrowing, and the light in them deepened, swirling into shapes I could not name. Because even a single human can influence an entire system if their thoughts are aligned with truth. She extended a hand, almost gently, and a gust of energy lifted the diary from my grip. The pages fluttered, but not with wind. They turned themselves, as though reading themselves aloud to her. Every secret you have hidden is known. And yet, she leaned closer, her voice a whisper against my mind. I do not condemn you. Relief was immediate, but it mingled with terror. I was exposed. My innermost thoughts, my dreams of freedom, my silent frustrations about the rigid hierarchy aboard the Aurora's reach, all were now visible to a being whose thoughts could probably unravel a star. Why me? I asked, my voice barely audible over the hum of her presence. She smiled, though it was more like a shifting of light than a human expression. Because, she said, your mind is unbound. Most beings contain themselves, building walls that cannot be penetrated. You have none. You spill yourself freely, and the universe has noticed. I didn't know whether to be proud or terrified. Before I could answer, she gestured to the diary and the pages flipped to an entry I had written weeks ago. I feel trapped in a life that is not mine. I want to explore, to see, to touch the edge of what is forbidden. But I am small, insignificant. I fear nothing will ever change. Her fingers hovered over the text, and I could feel her thoughts brushing against mine, warm and alien. You fear your insignificance, she whispered, yet you have already begun to alter fate by acknowledging it. You do not know it, but you are significant in ways you cannot yet comprehend. I wanted to laugh, or cry, or scream, but all I managed was a shaky nod. I don't know how, I admitted. I've always been ordinary. Ordinary. Her tone was incredulous, as if the word itself were absurd. No. You are extraordinary because you are aware. Awareness is power. Awareness is choice. And now, she leaned in, so close that I could feel the subtle gravitational pull of her presence. You must choose. Choose what? I asked, though instinctively, I felt I knew the answer. This was not about me, not entirely. This was about a cosmos that somehow had seen my small acts of honesty and considered them important. To remain hidden, she said, or to step forward. To allow your thoughts, your diary, your truths to influence what comes next. The galaxy is in flux. Powers are shifting. And you could tip the scales. I swallowed hard. It sounded impossible, absurd. I was not a hero. I was not even someone people listened to. I was a human with a few scribbled pages. But there was a flicker of something deep inside me, a spark I had felt while writing, a desire to matter, to touch the edges of something greater than myself. What happens if I choose to step forward? I asked, my voice trembling. She smiled again, this time more warmly, though her form remained otherworldly, impossible to fully comprehend. You will become a beacon. Others like you, humans and alien alike, will see that truth, no matter how fragile, can be heard. You will be exposed, yes, but you will also be remembered. And sometimes, she tilted her head, the light of stars refracting across her skin. Being remembered is what changes the universe. Her words sank into me like gravity. I could feel the tension in my chest ease slightly. Perhaps I had been wrong to think my life irrelevant. Perhaps even the small, secret thoughts we hide can ripple outward, touching corners of existence we never knew existed. And if I refuse? I asked, my mind still racing with fear. Then your diary will be returned, she said simply, and your life will continue as it has. Safe. Ordinary. But never forget. Her voice dropped to a whisper, almost intimate. Even refusal is a choice, and it too shapes the universe. I looked down at my diary, its pages trembling as though alive, and finally, I understood. The choice was mine, not whether I mattered, but how I would let that mattering manifest. I could hide, remain unseen, or I could act, let the world witness my truth, my fears, my dreams. I took a deep breath and opened the diary to a blank page. The alien queen hovered beside me, her eyes reflecting the vast cosmos outside. I picked up my pen, and for the first time, I wrote not for myself alone, but for the universe to see. I am here. I choose to be seen. The queen's hand hovered over the page, and then, with a whisper that seemed to echo across stars, she said, "Then let it begin." From that moment, my life became unrecognizable. Messages from my diary, thoughts I had once considered private, began to circulate through networks I had never touched, reaching distant colonies, advanced civilizations, and even rogue factions of beings who had long ceased to believe in hope. Some feared me, some celebrated me, and some sought me out. And the alien queen? She remained a guardian and a guide, her presence a reminder that even the smallest spark can ignite stars. In the quiet moments, when the universe slept and I felt small again, I would open my diary and remember the whisper, "Even refusal is a choice." And I would smile because now I understood. Exposure had not destroyed me. It had freed me. It had shown me that words, even secret words, could carry power beyond imagination, and that the courage to be known could shape the cosmos itself. I will never forget that day, when a being who could bend galaxies leaned close and whispered to me. She didn't offer me a crown or command armies. She offered me something far rarer, the recognition that my thoughts, my fears, and my truths, hidden in a simple human diary, were significant. And from that moment, I was never small again. I looked down at my diary one last time, the pages now brimming with not just my fears, but my choices, my truths, and my determination. The alien queen hovered nearby, her presence a living constellation. She smiled, and in that smile I saw understanding, not judgment, not power, but recognition. "You have chosen to be seen," she whispered, "and now the universe will remember you." I nodded, a weight lifting from my chest. For the first time, I realized that exposure was not a threat, it was freedom. My secrets, once confined to the fragile pages of a diary, had become a beacon. And in the vast silence of space, I felt no longer small, no longer invisible. The queen extended her hand, and I took it. In that contact, I felt the pulse of galaxies, the ebb and flow of stars, and the infinite possibilities that now lay before me. The diary would continue to speak, the words reaching beyond boundaries I had never imagined, touching hearts and minds across civilizations. As the Zytherian Empress drifted into the void, I stood on the bridge of my own ship, staring at the endless stars. I had been exposed, yes, but in that exposure, I had found my power. I was no longer just a human, no longer just a solitary writer hiding in the corners of a ship. I was part of something bigger, something alive, and the whisper of the alien queen would forever echo in my mind. Even the smallest voice can change the universe. And I would make sure mine did.